Let's see what we have here. Oh, let's see, we should have 90%, and that's nitromethane. And that's what we use to run in the Magic car when we run it. And so I've got a nice mix of 90% for the next time we take the car out. Hi everybody, my name's Bill Pitts, and I am the owner of the Winkle Trap Fuller Magic car, and I'm usually the guy that's behind the camera shooting what you have seen on Vintage Dragsters, which is my YouTube channel. But a famous motorsports hero of mine asked me to please get out in front of the camera to introduce this next show that you're about to see, which is an interview of a guy by the name of Danny Broussard. Danny was a crew member of some very famous Top Fuel teams in the mid-60s that ran in the Southern California area and actually all over the United States. And Danny's got some great memories that I think are very worthy of your interest. And next to him, as he's sitting down where I am basically, you'll have Rod McCarrell, who is a wealth of information on drag racing in the mid-60s. He was a part of the junior fuel team in that era, and Rod's a really great guy. And off to this side you'll see Tom Job, and Tom is a part of the Surfers Top Fuel team in the mid-60s. These guys were really good at what they did. So I start things out with a very intellectual question, and that is, Danny, when were you born?
I was born in September of 1933 in Los Angeles.
In Los Angeles. Where?
In the melting pot of Los Angeles at the time, South Central. And we had Chinese, Italian, black, Jews, Swedes, every kind of nationality. And it was kind of a low-income area.
Right.
And my dad and mom, my dad worked as a painter, but in the Depression area,
mm-hmm.
he was a boxer in the service in
wow.
the First World War, and actually things were pretty tough. So he would get side jobs and go downtown and work in the gyms as a sparring partner.
Really?
He was about 6 foot, and he would bring extra money home. But, my mom wanted to know where he was getting this extra money. Well, he was also a pretty good-looking guy, and he was working at night as a taxi dancer with a wealthy woman downtown in the ballrooms.
Oh, wow. Amazing. Just,
so anyway, story. That's where I started from. And,
right.
We had a pretty comfortable life, though, even though we were poor. Like everybody else in the neighborhood, trying to make it. And my mom was a pianist, and she played a lot of jazz, early jazz.
Mm-hmm.
And we had friends. The guy that grew up around the corner from us was Nat King Cole. I didn't know.
Really?
Yeah, you could hear him playing and on Sundays. It was great.
Wow.
I had friends, and in the process, went to high school. But before I went to high school, I started playing tennis with my cousin,
mm-hmm.
who was older, and got to be fairly good at it. And got in high school and got on the tennis team.
What high school was this?
Jefferson High School in central Los Angeles.
Hmm.
And one of the students there, he transferred to another school, was Poncho Gonzales.
Wow, really?
Okay, he transferred to Manual, but he was really good. And he got to be the national champion of the United States and Wimbledon champion. And I used to play with his younger brother, Frank. Frank wasn't too good. I could beat him. But we played tournaments, and we did okay. and I got to a scholarship to go to Pepperdine.
Really?
A tennis scholarship.
How neat.
But this was the time when the Korean War was going on.
Right.
And somehow my grades weren't very good. So I had to register for the draft, but I never registered before. So when I registered in 6 months, I went to the service and went to Germany in the Korean War, and they settled it at that time. But I was still around. All the guys had little jalopies after the Second World War. They had little hot rods, we call them jalopies, but they were hot rods. So we used to race on the street, little 33 Ford four-door sedan, suicide doors on it. And
what year approximately was this when you got
probably,
it? How old were you?
Before I went into service was, it had to be 47, 48.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to high school in 51.
So
No, I'm sorry, 49. 1949 is when I went to high school. You guys are taxing my brain.
No, it's all right. It's okay. Don't worry. We're just getting a feel for your history.
Yeah, just a little
How you were brought up.
But we used to race on the street, up and down Main Street. Dual lanes, crawdad holes on both sides. You get in trouble, you're in the ditch. So they said they were going to have a race up at Goleta.
Okay.
So we all got in this 34, 5 or 6 of us. It took forever. But I remember they didn't have any, they had a finish line timing. It was no elapsed time, I don't believe. And we were just spectators, and Fran Hernandes was running he was running a little nitro.
Really?
Because they got it off of the El Mirage, They were running all the guys, Jack Engel and Esky and all those guys were. I mean, I remember the names, but I didn't go to the El Mirage at the time.
Right.
But, that's how I got started. And then when I went to the service, after I screwed up in school, I went to Germany and got out in 1955. Okay, 55, we had, I started working as a plasterer. I really had a job. We were tearing down orange groves all over.
Mm-hmm.
And made good money, bought a 55 Oldsmobile. Well, naturally, I had to put a cam in it.
Of course.
Okay. And the guys I grew up with, at that time, that's when the Chevys came out, 55, 56. And I used to hang over at a place in Huntington Park, Jim's Auto, and Junior Thompson was driving. Jim Cassidy was his name. Had a straight 8 Buick in this piece of crap Roadster. Junior he'd shake before he got in it. That's how bad it was. Okay, he had a blowtorch for welding that was a cutting for blocks.
Oh.
He'd light that thing up and it'd light the room up. Anyway, he ran that, and I did okay with my Oldsmobile, and used to go down and race on the street against Tim Wood Sr. when he had his Oldsmobile.
Wow.
And Billy Miller used to hang around there. Billy Bones, he had a 55 Chevy, I think. So it was just raced on the street, and then that's when we decided maybe this isn't the right way to do it, because I had to go plastering every day.
Yeah.
And
You had to make a living.
Had to make a living, yeah. Don't quit your day job.
Yeah. Yeah. Words of wisdom are also included in this. This is good.
Yeah, don't go drag
And
racing.
Rod, you and Tom, you guys jump in if there's something that you can think of that.
Well, I was thinking
It's a
about
question.
that 1949 drag race has been determined to be the first real scheduled drag race, the one at Goleta.
Yes.
I mean, Santa Ana Drags with C.J. Hart in 1950 was the first sanctioned drag strip weekly drag racing program.
Right.
But the one in Goleta has been determined to be where drag racing started legally. And that's pretty amazing. That you were there.
Yeah.
I mean, that you were there.
I was a teenager, and so I had a pretty involvement upbringing. And so
Right off the bat.
in the process of racing the Oldsmobile, I decided I broke up with a girlfriend. I was going to party the Hollywood scene. Okay, so I frequented all the jazz clubs. And one day I met Miles Davis.
Really?
He was sitting at a bar, and he was Dexter Gordon and all these guys, you know. And it was a fun night. He was probably loaded. I have no idea.
Hasn't had a lot of money? Really?
So anyway,
Yeah, right.
And he was friendly, and you know, we had a good conversation. And after that, I decided I went by a used car lot in Linwood, and they had hot rods in front, a couple, and they had this Roadster that was sitting there, and it was pretty ragged. So I talked to the guy and decided to buy it. Had a 3/8 by 3/8 flathead in it. Couldn't hardly drive it on the street. Drove it down to Cassidy. He said, "Why you want to buy that piece of crap?" So eventually, that about a year of redoing it, and Cassidy and Tommy Ivo had his Roadster, and he made another Roadster that depicted how Jim Cassidy's Roadster would look. Put a coon tail on the deal. The whole thing.
Oh, I've
Really?
seen those pictures. Oh.
Really?
Oh, it's horrid.
Anyway.
And I asked Tommy about it one time, and he said, "Yeah, it was built as a fun thing, and it's a piece of junk."
Anyway, I built a Roadster, and it got into be in Hot Rod Magazine.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah, in Hot Rod Magazine. But you know, had 6 carburetors on it.
Mm-hmm.
Stock Buick. Didn't run crap, but
But it made hot rod, man. It made hot rod.
yeah,
That's
well,
cool.
at that
Well,
time.
did it make hot rod when it was the carbureted version?
Yes, it made it.
Okay, because here it's a little better. It's got an injector, but it also says Keith
That's-
Black on the side.
Ah.
That might
Keith
put
Black-
anybody in hot rod.
Yeah, Keith Black worked out of his house. He had a shop in the back.
Oh, okay.
And Bobby Sykes and Red Reeder were mechanics, and he was building boat engines. So I went to him and I said, "You want to build a?" He was an old hot rodder. Okay, he had a Roadster years ago, and he decided, "Yeah, I'll build it." So we built a hopped up 322 Buick cubic inch, and we had the carburetors on it for a while. But that wasn't doing any good, so and I was too big because the roll bar was lower, so I had to get a driver who was about 100 pounds lighter, which was great. And we were pretty successful with that. As a matter of fact, this picture is in your Kern. It says 1960, I don't know,
Wow.
59. Anyway, that's where I first met Wayne King. He was driving a Roadster, and this is the first time that Keith Black ever had a name on a car, on a drag race car at that time.
Wow. Never seen that.
His shoe polish.
Was this trailered out, or did you drive
Oh
it?
no, we towed it.
Yeah. Oh,
with a
to the tow
we
bar?
had tow tires.
And
on
this
it,
is the same car,
Yeah.
the first street Roadster.
with
Okay.
white walls on it, no less.
Love the white
Still
walls.
there.
Yeah, love the white walls.
Wow.
We took the moon caps off. Though.
We set some records in C Street's Roadster. And about that time,